the announcement today by President Trump is extremely disappointing. It reminds me of what happened in 1939 and 1940 when Canada was part of the fight against global fascism. The United States sat out the first 2 or 3 years and actually initially refused to even provide supplies to Canada and the United Kingdom that was leading the fight at the time. If I had a chance to speak to President Trump, I would remind him about Canada's solidarity following 9/11 and in the global fight against terrorism. We have made very real sacrifices to stand by our American friends and allies. And as a Canadian, I am insulted by the decision announced today to block the export of critically needed medical equipment that we need to fight the pandemic here in this country. And I think it's short-sighted because the United States ultimately is a net importer of this kind of equipment. But it also underscores why we must produce our own critical equipment here at home, because apparently we can't even count on our closest friend and ally to be a supplier. That's why, one of the reasons why we've launched the Bits and Pieces program today, again, calling on our experience in history during the Second World War, when the entire Canadian economy became geared up to support the effort. Suppliers, small and large, all played some role in that. That's why it was called the Bits and Pieces program. I want to commend my colleague, Premier Doug Ford of Ontario, for trying to harness the enormous capacity of the Ontario manufacturing sector to help produce, for example, ventilators and N95 masks. We are pursuing our own domestic efforts here in Alberta, and I commit that to the extent that we can, we will be prepared to share some of that equipment across Canada. Obviously, we must take care of our own healthcare needs first and ensure that we have surplus equipment and redundant supplies. But we will not respond in the same way that the President of the United States has today. That's very disappointing. And again, I would remind our American friends and neighbors that we've always been there together in important moments in history, and we should be there together at this important moment in history.